Well, I'll keep this short and sweet so that you can get home and see that football game. But I got to be honest with you. I'm going to take a little bit of responsibility for. I think our team's ineptness. First again, the alumni, his own, came 2 nights this year, and that is greatly appreciated. I just should have thanked them, but I was a little down about how we played and trying to figure out. We got back late. We practiced hard. We didn't practice as hard the last 2 days, but we did spend time, and I think we looked mentally tired, and that falls on me. So I got to make sure that I do a better job 3 games in 6 days, and we just didn't look very good. Jeremy got those 2 fouls early, which I questioned both of them, and then it kind of took him out of the game. And I'll give him credit at halftime. He vowed that wouldn't happen the second half, and he played better. And Jackson gets to the point where he gets frustrated when he gets doubled like that and really doesn't have to. So I thought, I told Doug Wojcik sitting on the bench, I said, I wonder how many of these 15,000 people are saying, does that jerk of a coach ever work on free throw shooting? And those of you that come to our practices or whatever, I asked Saudi, I said, I asked John, how much did you work on it? Others? I just feel bad. I feel bad for Cohen because, he missed some and he's been shooting great in practice from the line, and we didn't do a very good job of that, and that hurt us. We didn't make 1 2-shot foul, and we made one, missed one, made one, missed one, made one. What were we, 7 for 15 or 16 in the first half? Can't do that, and then Jax has 6 turnovers, and can't do that. So I think some of it was fatigue, but if you're a fan, you had to enjoy watching them play in a way, because I thought they played so hard. I thought Chris did a hell of a job. I think that little point guard Reed is very good, and Martinelli might, you could argue, but he's just a winner. He just makes winning shots. He might be the best player in our league if you really look at a guy that just gets everything out of himself. I don't even know what he ended up with, but 28, yeah, that means I was seeing it right. So give credit to them, but I give credit to us because when you aren't your best and you're out of it, I think both mentally and physically a little bit, and yet we found a way to win. Thank God we were home. Thank God for our home court fans. I think they kind of willed us through it a little bit second half. So I'll answer a couple quick questions. And the best one is there'll be zero basketball tomorrow. Anybody comes in this building, including my staff, I'm going to get them because they all worked their tail off. Players did, and those guys all need a day off. So we're going to do that tomorrow. And I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go home and watch a little of my favorite sport, and then I'll watch our game tomorrow morning. Questions?
Tom, be quick with this. Even Coach Collins mentioned the physicality. It seemed like a few minutes into the second half, you got into a bar fight. It went back and forth. You guys didn't blink. How much of that is culture, and how much is that personnel?
Well, what did he say about the first half? That the bar fight was unanimous the other way? Because he really should have. I thought they took it to us again, and we just have some certain lineups in there where we're not as physical. Tonight, Cam Ward, I thought, really brought something to the table. He looked more like he did in that Arkansas game, and I think you're going to see Cam just continues to get better. Jordan Scott, he's not the most physical guy, but he goes in there and plays physical. But boy, I'll tell you, I thought his team played hard as hell. I thought they screened well. They banged us around a little bit. Second half, yes, we were better. And I guess that's tribute to the players. At halftime, they knew they didn't play hard enough or well enough, and they did do something about it second half.
Tom, I was wondering, when you said Jeremy told you at halftime he vowed the second half wouldn't be a repeat of the first, I guess, did you tell him anything, or did you kind of let him just do the talking based on what he, his experience?
I told him in the first half, when we sat him, I said, look at, he was all upset. I said, look at it. I thought, I don't know what you guys thought, but I did not think those were good calls. And I'd like to say one other thing too. Like over my career, I've had a few tees, and usually I get my money's worth. Tonight I got screwed. I didn't get my money's worth at all. And I'm going to tell Brian, let me call you something different or something, But it was disappointing, and I thought that one was a charge. And so he gets caught twice. He got 2 fouls, 5 minutes into the game. And that doesn't happen to us very often. And so he didn't handle that very well. And, he wasn't upset with anybody but sort of himself, I'm sure the refs. But it was important that he learned to come out of that, too. And that's what I told him. I don't need him sulking at halftime. I said, you sit there and figure it out. I'm not going to tell you. Sooner or later, you got to figure it out. And I thought he did. And I thought he did a good job second half.
Now I'm going to ask you about not so much the technical, but that screen seemed to kind of get Jeremy going a little bit. The one that he didn't get called, that he didn't get the charge right before the technical. But 44 right in front of your bench that he got knocked on the ground. It seemed like that I think he had.
Oh, he got knocked on the ground and they didn't call it.
Yeah. And it seemed like that was a moment where everything changed and clicked.
Well, yeah, you have to ask him. I didn't ask him that, but it should. If someone steals your lunch in the playground, you better get after it. I thought he got his lunch stolen a little bit there.
The other thing I wanted to ask you too was Carson's game, particularly early, kind of carried you when things were a little sluggish. Was this maybe his best game as a Spartan?
I thought it was. If you talk about rebounding, scoring, he made a couple nice hooks. Listen, I've been the first to tell you, he has struggled lately. He has not played like the Carson Cooper I know. And tonight, I thought he did play one of his best games. Those couple of hooks, he took the ball in the basket, made his free throws, he had some big-time rebounds, and he played better defense than some of those other bigs did. So, we needed Coop, and he had a big game, and I was proud of him. It's a good thing when you're struggling, you got to learn how to come out of it, and I think he did.
I wanted to ask you about the sequence. Kind of Northwestern had that 10-2 run out of the final media timeout, and then you get that late shot clock shot for Jeremy to stop, and then Cohen's dunk to go up to 6. Again, those Duke and Nebraska games, you kind of didn't execute as well as you'd like in winning time. How big was that sequence for your team?
Yeah, I thought we did a better job of getting the ball in Jeremy's hands, trying to get him downhill. I also think a big play in that game was when, it's crazy little plays, but when Jordan got that rebound, kicked it out to, I think it was Jackson, and he hit a big 3. Those little plays like that, but we did execute better. And yet there's some things we wanted to run. Boy, when we were up 10, Jax threw that one into the post. They go down and hit a 3. I mean, it was just, I told him, so I don't mind telling you, it was ridiculous. Can't do that. And yet he made some big 3s too, and so he would have his best game and he gets 15 and 8. And I guess that's why you're supposed to be one of the better players, and so hopefully we'll get some rest and improve.
Kind of building off what Chris asked, but with Jeremy, obviously gets knocked down a couple of times. It's not the first half he wants. He's sitting on the bench. I wonder, as far as like a mental rep, if you will, of him going through those experiences, learning how to come out of it focused, and on the other end, positive. And is that as good a rep as he can find? Obviously, you come out with the win.
Yeah, I thought that was really important for Jeremy because sometimes, he lets getting mad cause fouls or bad shots or things like that. And I thought he did a very, very good job. I mean, those drives, we did try to isolate him and get him downhill instead of east and west, north and south. And for the most part, I thought he handled that very well. And that'll be something to build on now. We got to get fresh a little bit here, and we will get fresh, and we got our work cut out. Indiana's playing as good as anybody, and they create problems because they play a lot of small ball. So there'd be some adjustments in the next couple of weeks. Then you turn right around and go to Washington, and they play one of the bigger teams. They're 6'11", 6'11", and 6'8". So it's kind of interesting. This league has changed so much. Different styles, different zones, different mans, different sizes. I mean, we're kind of hitting a lot of different things, and I think we're kind of made for that. That's why Cam's so important. At 6'8", he can rebound with a lot of people, but at 6'8", he can guard guards too. And we're a little slow foot, other than him inside, and so he becomes very, very, very valuable. And I think you're going to see him take a big jump.
Tom,
Go ahead.
two quick things. He isn't often the team's leading scorer, gets 28 and only misses 3 shots
Yeah.
all night against you. Was that show what Martinelli is, or did you have defensive breakdowns?
Both, but I think that shows what Martinelli is, to be honest with you. I mean, I've always been a Chris Collins fan, and I really have been. I think he does an amazing job. His dad was a pro coach. He's got a lot of different sets. He's got a lot of things. I think he's a better team than I've seen, with maybe some different kinds of talent for him. But he's running the ball more. Never did that. He's really getting after you defensively, and they were always solid. But I thought he got after it. And Martinelli, when he hit that 3 over on the far side late, I mean, Wojcik and I just sat there and said, "There's a winner." Winning time. He made a winning play. I mean, I told him that after the game. I said, "Man, I appreciate going against you for 4 years, but because that's what you are. You're a winner." And there were a couple breakdowns. We weren't getting up on the ball screens early, like Duke. I that's all we do. I don't know why we didn't, but I'll find a way to get that straight out.
You outscored it by 17 after the tech.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'll get one to start the game next week. How's that?
Was that a good one? Was one that you said? Okay.
I didn't. There's been a few in my career that were planned. That wasn't one. Like I said, the planned ones, I usually get my money's worth. I got screwed tonight on that. Maybe I deserved it, but it sure wasn't for what I said in comparison to normal. But I was disappointed with some things. I thought it was a very physical game both ways. If he thought it was physical, I thought it was physical, and that's about as good an officiating crew as we'll ever get. They're the top of the top, and probably a hard game because I think both teams played hard. But I don't know, 17-2 run after the tee.
You were down 7 and you won by 10.
Well, then I'll definitely do what a good coach does. That was all planned, did it on purpose, and I got something out of it. How's that?
Tom, plus minus can be an overrated stat, but if you look at Jordan Scott, just sort of game over game, it's sometimes he's almost always in the top couple for you. And I'm wondering your faith in him. How much when he's getting in the game late, that's rotation versus you?
No, tonight we made. I mean, we talked about it lately. I talked to you guys about even starting him, but he's playing 18, 19 minutes a game, for a freshman. That's unbelievable. And I've been really pleased with him, and I was really pleased with Cam early, and I know why he hasn't played as well, but he's practiced a lot better since he's come back, and I think those two guys are going to be very, very influential in us. What we can do from here on out. They're both incredible kids. They play hard. They're pretty smart basketball players, and neither one of them are shooting like I think they can. Like Cam's got to continue to improve that. Jordan is a very good shooter, and he struggled a little bit. I've said he reminds me of Max Christie, and yet he's playing well defensively. Max didn't shoot it as well his first year either, but he really played hard defensively, and that's what he's doing. Now, what he does, he gets those loose ball rebounds that I think really matter. So, glad he's on my team, but we got to get better, guys. We got some things we got to get better at, and that ball screen coverage is that shouldn't have been that way tonight. So that's something I was disappointed in.
You got 2 more starting with Lucas.
Tom, I was
wondering, through 5 games in the Big Ten this year, what do you think about the conference, and what does it say about your team to be able to grind out wins like this?
You know, I think the conference is really, really, really good. It's different, really good. I mean, I watched Purdue last night get up 20. I watched Wisconsin get up 27, and then, you know, Northwestern cuts down to 8. Consistency is, I think, what, you know, Michigan's been pretty consistent, to be honest, and then they struggled a little bit at Penn State, but they've been consistent, and I think Purdue has, you know, been pretty consistent, and I don't know what we've been. I guess we've been pretty consistent. So, you know, Indiana's the other team that's been really consistent. But there's been some up and down with teams too, but I think it's that way in every league right now. I told you it was going to be that way, that, you know, teams are learning how to play with each other. Teams are trying to figure out how to deal with certain things. I still say I'm lucky because I don't have any of those issues. We just got to do a better job. I got to do a better job making sure my team is fresh. So I'll do a better job of that. That you want to blame somebody for tonight, blame me. Because they were ready to play. They just didn't look like they played like they were ready to play. And I just felt like, even looking at their faces and huddles, they just looked tired.
Congratulations on the win, Coach.
Thanks.
You're welcome. When there are these situations, whether it be like down enough to have like tonight or just whatever the case may be, who outside of Jeremy maybe is in the locker room or in those huddles, if anybody else also that may surprise you? Not,
yeah.
That's kind of,
you know, I really was pleased with Cohen tonight and the huddles and everything, you know, and he did play with some energy and he did some things, and at halftime, he and Coop, I think, spoke a lot, and that's one of the things that we have to continue to improve on too, you know, but I think there's a lot of teams that have to do that. So, you know, when I talk to those guys on Saturday, that's what I'm going to talk about, you know. We had to learn to come from behind. We had to learn to come from behind down halftime, especially making a boneheaded play like we did right before the half. I mean, that can take a bad halftime to oblivion, you know. And we didn't. We hung in there, and yet, man, I'm going to enjoy that second half of that football game tonight. To hell with this basketball right now. Thank you, guys. We'll do better. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Coach.